I stood in the doorway of my daughter's bedroom that night before Thanksgiving, watching her sleep. Lily was 6 years old, her small fingers wrapped around the teddy bear I gave her on her third birthday. She smiled softly in her dreams, completely unaware of what tomorrow would bring. After 3 years of silence, I had decided to take her back to my mother's house for the holiday. I kept telling myself that things would be different this time. Maybe I was just being naive. 5 days after that dinner, my phone showed 89 missed calls from the same people who called my daughter a mistake. Before I share what happened, let me know where you are watching from today. Drop your location in the comments below. If stories about family forgiveness and standing up for the ones you love resonate with you, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Now let me tell you what happened at that Thanksgiving dinner and why I will never forget the look on my daughter's face. The morning of Thanksgiving arrived with pale autumn sunlight streaming through the curtains. I woke up earlier than usual, my stomach already tight with anticipation. Today was the day I would take Lily back to meet my family for the first time in 3 years. I walked into her room and found her already awake, sitting up in bed with her hair tangled from sleep. She looked up at me with those big brown eyes, the same eyes her mother had, and smiled. "Daddy, is today the day we see Grandma?" she asked. "Yes, sweetheart. Today is the day." I helped her get dressed, choosing her nicest outfit, a navy blue dress with a white ribbon at the waist. Lily twirled in front of the mirror, giggling at how the skirt flared out around her. She asked me about Grandma Sandra, about Uncle Marcus, about her cousins she had never really known. I answered her questions carefully, telling her that our family was a little different, but that they would love her. Deep down, I was not so sure. The last time I had seen my mother was 3 years ago, shortly after my wife Jasmine passed away. Jasmine died in a car accident when Lily was only 2 years old. It shattered my world. But instead of offering comfort, my mother had said things that still echoed in my mind. She never approved of Jasmine because Jasmine came from a working-class family. She never forgave me for dropping out of business school to raise Lily after Jasmine died. To her, my entire life had become a series of disappointments. But Lily was 6 now. She was smart, kind, and full of life. Surely they could see that. Surely they could look past their prejudices and love this innocent child. Before we left, Lily ran to her room and came back holding a piece of paper. It was a drawing she had made colorful and earnest, showing our whole family standing together in front of a house. In the center of the picture was a small figure with brown hair and a blue dress. That was Lily, surrounded by people she had never really met, but desperately wanted to know. "This is for Grandma," she said proudly. I looked at that drawing and felt my heart crack just a little. Her hope was so pure, so untouched by the reality of who my family really was. We got in the car and began the 2-hour drive to the suburbs where my mother lived. Lily fell asleep about halfway there, her head resting against the window, the drawing clutched in her small hands. I drove in silence, memories flooding back with every mile. I thought about my father, who passed away when I was 18. He was the heart of our family, the one who kept us together. After he died, my mother changed. She became harder, more controlling, more obsessed with success and image. My older brother Marcus became her favorite because he made money, lots of it. He started a real estate company that grew quickly, and in my mother's eyes, that made him the golden child. I was the one who studied computers, who fell in love with a woman from a modest background, who chose to be a father over climbing the corporate ladder. In my mother's world, those were unforgivable sins. When we arrived at the house, I saw that Marcus and my younger sister Brianna were already there. Their cars sat in the driveway, like silent sentinels. I took a deep breath, gently woke Lily, and helped her out of the car. "Ready?" I asked her. She nodded, holding her drawing against her chest like a shield. We walked up to the front door together. My mother opened it before I could knock. Sandra stood there, in an elegant sweater, her silver hair perfectly styled, her expression unreadable. She looked at me first, offering a brief, distant hug. Then her eyes moved down to Lily. I watched my mother's face carefully. There was no warmth there, no joy at seeing her granddaughter. Just a cold, appraising stare, like she was evaluating merchandise. "Hi, Grandma," Lily said softly, holding out her drawing. "I made this for you." My mother took the paper, glanced at it for half a second, said, "Oh," and set it aside on a table near the door. She did not compliment it. She did not thank Lily. She simply turned and walked back into the house. Lily looked up at me confused. I squeezed her hand and led her inside. The living room was filled with the smell of roasting turkey and the sound of football on television. Marcus sat on the couch with his wife Heather and their two sons Tyler, who was 8, and Brandon, who was 5. Marcus gave me a nod, but did not get up to greet me. Heather looked at Lily from head to toe, then leaned over to whisper something to Marcus. I saw him smirk. Brianna was in the kitchen, helping with the food. She caught my eye and gave me a small apologetic smile, but she did not come over. She never did. Brianna had learned long ago that staying silent was the safest way to survive in this family. Dinner began around 4 in the afternoon. We all gathered around the large oak table that had been in our family for generations. My mother sat at the head, Marcus to her right, me somewhere in the middle, with Lily beside me. The conversation revolved entirely around Marcus. His company was expanding. He had just closed a deal worth several $1,000,000. He was thinking about buying a vacation home. My mother beamed with pride at every word, her eyes shining in a way they never did when she looked at me. When there was a pause, I tried to share something about my own work. I had recently been promoted to senior cybersecurity specialist at a major tech firm. It was a significant achievement. "Still just sitting in front of computers all day," my mother interrupted. Before I could respond, Heather chimed in with her own observation. "Damien, when are you going to find a proper woman? Lily needs a mother. That poor girl growing up without any feminine influence." I felt my jaw tighten. Lily has plenty of feminine influence. She has wonderful teachers, caring neighbors, and she had a mother who loved her more than anything. "Yes, well," Heather said, with a dismissive wave. "Jasmine is gone, is she not? You need to move on, for Lily's sake." Lily, who had been quietly eating her mashed potatoes, looked up at the mention of her mother's name. "I have a mommy," she said in her small, clear voice. "She is in heaven." The table went silent. My mother looked at Lily with something close to irritation. Marcus shifted uncomfortably. Heather rolled her eyes. After dinner, the children went to play in the living room. I was helping clear the dishes when I heard a commotion. Lily was crying. I rushed in and found her on the floor, holding her knee. Tyler stood nearby, looking defiant. "What happened?" I asked, kneeling beside Lily. "Tyler pushed me," she sobbed. I looked at Tyler. "Did you push her?" Before he could answer, Marcus appeared. Come on, Damien. Tyler was just playing. Your kid is too sensitive. She is bleeding, I said, pointing to the scrape on Lily's knee. Tyler needs to apologize. For what kid's roughhouse? It is normal. I was about to argue when my mother's voice cut through the room. She had walked in from the kitchen, her arms crossed her face, set in that familiar expression of cold judgment. Damien, stop making a scene. This is exactly your problem. You overreact to everything. You always have. My daughter is hurt, Mom. I am not overreacting. That girl, my mother said, and her voice dropped to something low and sharp, has been nothing but trouble since the day she was born. If you had not been so stubborn about that Jasmine woman, you would have a real career, a real family, a real life. But no, you chose her, and that child was the result. A mistake. That is what she is. A mistake. The word hung in the air like poison. I could not breathe. I could not move. I stared at my mother, this woman who had given birth to me, who had raised me, and I watched her call my daughter a mistake to her face. Lily tugged at my sleeve. Her eyes were red and wet, her lower lip trembling. Daddy, she whispered, what is a mistake? Am I a mistake? Something inside me shattered, and something else, something stronger rose up to take its place. I bent down and lifted Lily into my arms, holding her close against my chest. Then I turned to face my mother. Lily is not a mistake, I said. My voice was steady, but I could feel the rage burning beneath every word. She is the best thing that has ever happened to me. She is kind and smart and loving and everything that this family is not. And if you cannot see that, then you do not deserve to know her. My mother's face hardened. If you choose that child over this family, then do not bother coming back. I am not choosing her over this family, I replied. I am choosing her over people who would hurt her. There is a difference. I walked out the front door with Lily in my arms. She was still holding that drawing, now crumpled and stained with her tears. On the drive home, Lily was quiet for a long time. Then in a small voice, she asked the question that broke my heart all over again. Daddy, did I do something wrong? I had to pull over to the side of the road because I could not see through my tears. No, baby, I said, turning to look at her. You did nothing wrong. You are perfect. Do you understand me? You are absolutely perfect. That night, after I put Lily to bed, I checked my phone. My mother had blocked my number. So had Marcus. So had Heather. Even Brianna sent me a short message that simply said, I am sorry. And then she went silent too. In the span of one afternoon, I had lost my entire family. The days after Thanksgiving were some of the hardest of my life. I barely slept that first night, lying awake in the darkness, replaying my mother's words over and over in my mind. A mistake. She had called my daughter a mistake, my own mother. I went to work on Friday, but I could not focus. My mind kept drifting back to Lily's face, the confusion in her eyes, the way she asked if she was a bad girl. My colleague Kevin noticed something was wrong. He had known me for years, ever since we started at the company together. You look like you have not slept in days, he said during our lunch break. I told him what happened. Not everything, but enough. The Thanksgiving dinner. The things my mother said. The way they blocked me afterward. Kevin shook his head. Man, that is brutal. But you know what? You do not owe them anything. Lily is lucky to have a father like you. His words helped a little, but the wound was still fresh. At home, Lily had changed. She was quieter than usual, less playful. She did not ask about Grandma anymore. One evening, I walked past her room and saw her putting her drawing into a drawer, face down, like she did not want to see it. That night, I heard crying from her room. I went in and found her curled up in bed, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Hey, sweetheart," I said softly, sitting beside her. "What is wrong?" "Daddy," she whispered, "am I a bad girl? Is that why Grandma does not like me?" I pulled her into my arms and held her tight. "You are not a bad girl. You are the best girl in the whole world. Grandma is... Grandma has some problems that have nothing to do with you. Do you understand? None of this is your fault." She nodded against my chest, but I could tell she did not fully believe me. How could she? She was 6 years old, trying to understand why her own grandmother had rejected her. That night, I made a promise to myself. I would protect Lily from anyone who tried to hurt her, even if that meant cutting my own family out of our lives forever. The days passed slowly. Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning. I started to find my footing again. I realized that I had been seeking my family's approval my entire life, and it had never come. Maybe it was time to stop waiting. I thought about Jasmine. She had faced the same rejection from my family. They looked down on her because she did not come from money, because her parents worked in factories instead of offices. But Jasmine never let it break her. She used to say, "Family is not about blood. Family is about who shows up for you." I decided that Lily and I would build our own family. We did not need people who would hurt us just because we did not fit their idea of success. On Saturday afternoon, I took Lily to the park. It was cold, but the sun was out, and I wanted to see her smile again. We got ice cream from a truck near the playground, and I watched her run around with other children, her laughter filling the air. While she played, I ran into Grace, one of Lily's teachers from last year. She was walking her dog through the park and stopped to say hello. "Damien, how are you? And how is Lily doing this year?" "She is doing well," I said. "She loves first grade." Grace smiled. "She is such a wonderful student. Kind, curious, always helping the other kids. You should be proud." Before I could respond, Lily ran over her face, bright with joy. She hugged me and then looked up at Grace. "My daddy is the best daddy in the whole world," she announced. Grace laughed. I felt something warm spread through my chest. Maybe this was enough. Maybe Lily and I were enough for each other. On Sunday morning, I made pancakes for breakfast. Lily helped me mix the batter, and of course, she spilled flour everywhere, covering the counter in white powder. We both laughed as we cleaned it up together. This was what mattered. These small moments. This simple happiness. After breakfast, we watched a cartoon movie together. Lily curled up beside me on the couch, her head resting on my lap. My phone was in the bedroom, and I had not looked at it all morning. I did not want to. There was nothing on that phone that could make my life better. For the first time in nearly a week, I felt at peace. The peace did not last. That afternoon, I went to the bedroom to grab a phone charger. When I picked up my phone, the screen lit up with notifications that made my stomach drop. 89 missed calls, 47 text messages, 23 voicemails. The calls came from numbers I did not recognize from Brianna and from other family members I had not heard from in years. My heart started pounding. Something was very wrong. I opened Brianna's text messages first. They were frantic, full of capital letters and exclamation points. "Damien, please call me back. It's urgent. Marcus is in serious trouble. We need your help. I scrolled through more messages trying to piece together what had happened. Then I listened to the voicemails. The first one was from my mother. Her voice was shaking completely different from the cold, controlled tone she had used 5 days ago. Damien, please. I know we had a disagreement, but this is an emergency. Marcus needs you. His company has been attacked by hackers. They are demanding money. He could lose everything. He could go to prison. You are the only one who can help us. Please call me back. The next voicemail was from Marcus himself. I had never heard my brother sound like this before. He was always so confident, so sure of himself. Now his voice cracked with desperation. Damien, look, I know things have been bad between us. I know I have not been a good brother. But I am begging you. My entire company is locked down. Some kind of ransomware. They want $500,000 in 72 hours, or they will destroy everything and release all my client data. If that happens, I am finished. Lawsuits, criminal charges, bankruptcy. Please, you are the only cybersecurity expert I know. I need you. I sat on the edge of my bed, my mind racing. So this was why they were suddenly reaching out. Not because they realized they were wrong. Not because they wanted to apologize to Lily. They needed something from me. I called Brianna to get the full picture. Damien, thank God, she said as soon as she picked up. Did you get our messages? I got them. Tell me exactly what happened. She explained everything. On Friday, 2 days after Thanksgiving, Marcus discovered that his entire computer system had been encrypted by ransomware. All the client files, contracts, financial records, everything was locked. The hackers left a message demanding $500,000 in Bitcoin within 72 hours. If he did not pay, they would delete all the data and leak the client information online. Marcus had called the police, the FBI, private security firms. No one could help in time. The FBI said these cases usually took weeks or months to resolve, if they could be resolved at all. The private firms quoted prices almost as high as the ransom itself. And then someone remembered that Marcus had a brother who worked in cybersecurity. Damien, you are our only hope, Brianna said. I know what happened at Thanksgiving was awful. I know Mom said terrible things. But if Marcus goes down, he will lose everything. His house, his savings, maybe even his freedom. Tyler and Brandon could grow up without a father. I was silent for a long moment. I need to think about this, I said finally. I ended the call and sat alone in my bedroom, staring at the wall. And now they needed me. But another part of me thought about Tyler and Brandon. Those boys were innocent. They did not choose their parents. Did they deserve to suffer because of what the adults had done? I thought about Lily. I had taught her to be kind, even to people who were not kind to her. Was I willing to abandon that principle now? And I thought about what kind of man I wanted to be. If I refused to help, would I be any better than them? I made my decision. I would help, but not because they deserved it. I would help because I refused to become like them. I called Marcus. I will be there tonight, I said. The relief in his voice was palpable. Damien, thank you. Thank you so much. Do not thank me yet, I replied. We will talk when I get there. I asked Kevin to watch Lily for the evening, and then I got in my car and drove those 2 hours again. But this time, I was not seeking approval or hoping for acceptance. This time, I knew exactly who I was and what I was worth. When I arrived at my mother's house, Marcus opened the door. He looked like a different person from the smug, successful businessman I had seen 5 days ago. His eyes were sunken, his face unshaven, his clothes wrinkled. Behind him, I could see my mother sitting in a chair, looking older than I had ever seen her. Heather was on the couch, her usual arrogance replaced by naked fear. "Thank you for coming," Marcus said quietly. I walked past him without a word and went straight to his laptop on the dining room table. I examined the ransomware message, analyzed the encryption, and began to work. For hours, I sat at that computer while my family watched in silence. I contacted colleagues, accessed specialized tools, and tracked down information about this particular strain of ransomware. It was a variant I had encountered before in my work. I knew there was a chance, a small one, that a decryption key existed. Around 2 in the morning, I found what I was looking for. A cybersecurity research group had cracked this variant a few months ago. I reached out to them, explained the situation, and they sent me the decryption tool. By 4 in the morning, I had begun recovering the data. By 7 in the morning, more than 90% of the files were restored. Marcus stared at the screen in disbelief. All his contracts, all his client information, everything was coming back. "I cannot believe it," he whispered. I stood up from the chair and stretched my aching back. "The technical problem is solved. But before I leave, we need to talk." The room fell silent. My mother, Marcus, Heather, all of them watched me with wary eyes. "5 days ago," I said, "you called my daughter a mistake. You looked at a 6-year-old child and told her she should not exist. Then you blocked me like I was nothing, like we were nothing." No one spoke. "I did not come here because you deserve my help. I came because Tyler and Brandon do not deserve to lose their father over this. I came because I refuse to be the kind of person who abandons family in their worst moment, even when that family has abandoned me." I looked at my mother. "If you ever want to be part of Lily's life again, you will apologize to her directly. Not to me. To her. And I will decide if and when that happens. If it never happens, that is your consequence to live with." My mother's eyes glistened with tears. It was the first time I had seen her cry since my father's funeral. "I am sorry, Damien," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I was wrong. I want to make it right." Marcus stepped forward. "I am sorry, too. I should have defended you. I should have defended Lily. I was too much of a coward." Heather said nothing, just kept her head down. I nodded slowly. Words are easy. Actions are what matter. We will see. I walked to the door and paused with my hand on the handle. The first light of dawn was breaking through the windows. "Lily is not a mistake," I said without turning around. "She is the only reason I became a man worth being. Remember that." Then I left. I got home just after 8 that morning. Kevin was making coffee when I walked in, and Lily was still asleep. "How did it go?" Kevin asked. "It is done," I said. "They got their data back." "And the family stuff?" I shrugged. "We will see. I am not holding my breath." When Lily woke up, she ran into my arms like she always did. I held her close, breathing in the scent of her shampoo, feeling her small heart beat against my chest. "Daddy, where did you go?" she asked. "I went to help some people who needed help." "Were they nice people?" I thought about that question for a moment. "They are learning to be nice, sweetheart. Some people take longer to learn than others." We made breakfast together that morning, just like we always did. And as I watched Lily pour syrup on her waffles, I realized that I had everything I needed right here in this kitchen. 2 weeks later, Brianna called and asked if she could visit. I said yes. She came with a giant teddy bear for Lily and tears in her eyes. "I am so sorry," she told Lily, kneeling down to her level. "I should have said something that day. I should have protected you. Can you forgive me?" Lily, with the pure and generous heart that only children possess, wrapped her arms around her aunt. "It is okay, Auntie Bree. I forgive you." A month after that, a letter arrived in the mail addressed to Lily. It was from my mother. Inside was a short note written in shaky handwriting. "To my granddaughter Lily, I am so sorry for what I said. I was wrong, and I have no excuse. I hope that someday you can forgive a foolish old woman who did not know how to love properly. You are not a mistake. You are a blessing." Enclosed with the letter was Lily's drawing from Thanksgiving, now professionally framed. I read the letter several times. I was not ready to forgive completely, and maybe I never would be. But I recognized that my mother was trying in her own imperfect way. I decided to let her visit on Christmas Day, but at our house on our terms. If she wanted to be a grandmother, she would have to earn it. The visit was awkward, but peaceful. My mother brought gifts and kept her comments kind. She held Lily on her lap and read her a story. It was not perfect, but it was a start. The months that followed taught me many things. I learned that forgiveness is not about forgetting what happened. It is about freeing yourself from the weight of anger. I did not forgive my family because they earned it. I forgave them because I deserved peace. I also learned that some wounds never fully heal, and that is okay. You can acknowledge the scars while still moving forward. Most importantly, I learned that family is not defined by blood. It is defined by who shows up, who stays, and who fights for you. Lily and I had each other, and that was more than enough. Every night before bed, Lily asks me the same question: "Daddy, am I a good girl?" And every night, I give her the same answer: "You are not just a good girl. You are my greatest blessing." To anyone watching this who has ever been called a mistake by the people who were supposed to love you, hear me now. You are not a mistake. You are exactly who you are meant to be. Someone out there is grateful that you exist, even if the people closest to you cannot see your worth. Now, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever had to stand up for someone you love, even when it meant standing against your own family? Share your story in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. If this story touched your heart, please hit the like button. It really helps this channel grow. And if you have not subscribed, yet join our community so you do not miss the next story. Share this video with someone who might need to hear it today. You never know whose life you might change with a simple share. Thank you for being here and for listening to my story. May you find the strength to protect the people you love. And may you always remember that your worth is not determined by those who cannot see it. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other.